Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Tonight, I'm hosting this live stream on behalf of Fastlane Solution, and today's topic is the future of tech startups in 2021. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Please make sure to introduce yourselves in the comments. Let us know what you do and join our conversation with your comments and questions. So I'll put a reminder for you. Make sure to introduce yourself in the comments so you know who's joining us today. So with the current global health crisis and new normal, we all have to embrace certain changes expected in the business scene. So tonight we are going to discuss top takeaways for tech startups from 2020. 2021 business trends that will shape the future of the tech startups, and how we should concentrate on customer support and social impact in 2021. Can we humanize artificial intelligence and automation tool? Is it possible? And how we can clearly communicate business value rather than tech features. So we will start this session with a brief overview of main takeaways from 2020 from each of our speakers, and continue with the panel discussion around your top tips and trends for startups to accelerate in 2021. So we want to keep this discussion extremely interactive. So if you have any questions at any time of the stream, pop it please in the comments, and we'll try our best to cover all your questions tonight. Also, please just contribute in the discussion as well with your opinion and maybe your examples and experience. Please stay on the topic. Yeah, we're talking about the future of the tech startups today. And I just want to quickly remind you that we're streaming today on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And you can post your questions in the comments on any of those platforms. Make sure to get involved and challenge our speakers. And make sure you stay till the end as well. So, and of course, if you're enjoying our today's discussion, make sure that you hit this like button to encourage us to keep going and to bring various experts from the industry to share their knowledge in 2021. So before we dive into our discussion, I would like our speakers to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves and their businesses and their startups actually as well. So we're gonna start with Renata. Please tell us about you and your business.
Thanks, Yana. Thanks so much, Yana. And yeah, hello, everyone. So I am Renata, and I have a business called MaxMe, and it stands for what's quite obvious, I guess, which is all around how do we maximize ourselves as humans. And I opened that business about 15 months ago, so I am very much a startup. I'm in my first real year of what has been a crazy year, but a bit more about that later on. I'm actually a veteran of the corporate world. I almost made it to 30 years before I left to do the startup thing. I've worked in some of Australia and overseas, some of the biggest companies, big brands, banking, telecommunications, and management consultancy. I actually started as a graduate when in my 20s with Accenture. So I've actually had quite a very broad experience doing the rounds, I guess, of the corporate scene. And I left that scene to realize my dream, really, and that is to create a human skills movement for young people that are entering the workforce so that they can really love their career, hit the ground running, be super productive and super confident from the word go, if possible. And that's what I've been pursuing, my dream of doing that for the last 15 months.
And just briefly, can you tell us about your business?
Thanks, Yana. So basically we've got an app that we've gone live with in October. So it took us 10 months, which I've been told is phenomenal speed. So I guess I'll take that. The app's called Hodi, which means today in Latin. And that's very much personifies what it's all about is, don't put off your human skill development to tomorrow, start today. And it's a really fun, cool app, very much, tailored for the market, the Gen Z and millennial market. And here's a little video just to give you a taste. Always makes me pretty proud when I see those things. Thanks, Jana.
Thank you, Renata. And we go to Olga. Olga, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. So my name is Olga and I run a startup which is called Persola. So what Persola is actually an instant checkout and social media analytics platform, a SaaS product, which helps businesses, brands, influencers to sell on social media and also to analyze any Instagram, TikTok, YouTube account to partner for. Yeah, like an influencer marketing space, which we're placing in. We've been in the game for 5 years actually now. We started in late 2015. On the slide, you can see that it says 2016, but that's when we launched our product. We're in the game for quite some time. We've got some interesting clients. You can see the brands on the top. So these are some of our cool brands which we work with, who use our platform to sell through our one-click technology on social, or they use our social media analytics to analyze accounts, as I said, to partner with them for promotions. Interesting fact is that in this year, we launched a new product, which is called Hey Link Me. It was basically based and it emerged on the back of our current customers who asked us for some simplified solutions, how they can link all the links, under one profile, and how can they sell faster using technology, right? So we released Hey Link Me, and I'm super excited to actually say that yesterday we hit 40,000 users. So we're amazed how fast we went. We launched it just in September, and this month we hit 40,000 users. So those who are watching us, if you want to jump on Hey Link Me and create your one page where you can connect all your links and then add it to your Instagram bio, TikTok bio, LinkedIn bio, or even CV, you're welcome to do that. It's actually a free tool to start, so you're welcome to do it. And by the way, our social media analytics as well is free. So you can analyze your own Instagram and see how many fake followers, how many engagements you get, how many clicks, and so on. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
40,000 from September. I feel like I'm gonna register right now.
Please do.
And we have Denise with us as well. Denise actually joining us from New York today. It's 1 a.m. in the morning there. So welcome, Denise. Please let us know about yourself. Please make sure you unmute yourself as well.
Hi, Jana. Hi, everybody. Thanks for inviting. I'm Dennis Durek. I'm the CEO and co-founder of ADAM, which stands for Advanced Development of Additive Manufacturing. It's a biotech company that focuses on 3D printing of bones. We possess proprietary technology in materials and printers to be able to print patient-specific bioresorbable bone implants. So basically what we're trying to do is to disrupt the healthcare industry and with an innovative solution that will allow patients to have their specific organic bones printed at the point of care. If it works, it will be quite revolutionary, and we're planning to continue the development of the platform and of the company to R&D other tissues that are possible to 3D print. So that's the idea, and there's a short video which I wanted to show you.
The world is rough, and we are not. ADAM technology allows to print organic bone implants on demand, faster and easier than ever. The process starts with a digital platform where we create a 3D model of an implant based on you, then print it in up to 24 hours. It's a personalized bone, just like yours. Made of ceramic bioglass or modified biopolymers with no toxic, allergic, and teratogenic effects. Taking place in the point of care, a certified hospital, done by a doctor you trust. Implants stimulate osteogenesis. Human bone tissue fully replaces the implant over time. and there's no need to reoperate the patient. No human trials required. Adam will provide technology as a service to hospitals, launching in 2022. The world is rough, but it's okay.
Really dramatic video, Dennis.
Yeah, we tried our best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, you guys, for introducing yourself. And we have Eugene with us today as well. Eugene, just remind us who you are.
Yeah, I'm just a guy who appears at all of those live streams over this year with Fastlane. So essentially, lining up the focus to this conversation, we are a Fastlane Solutions, Sydney-based consulting and advisory company, which evolved from basically IT delivery in automation, cloud, and reg tech areas, and collecting all of that experience in relation to building the complex end-to-end business model supported by technology, supported by building teams and decent processes. We are also involved in several initiatives, which is called on our end as Launch With Us. So we pretty much work with startup ecosystem or early stage businesses to support them with our knowledge and with our technology, and also in the backbone having strong partnerships with world-known vendors while maintaining sort of the vendor agnostic approach to help the business ecosystem, and especially given the topic of 2020-21, this is a very important linking point for all of us. And yeah, in a nutshell, I'll stay in the conversation to continue that line tonight, or late night for some of our participants who are in the States.
Thank you, Eugene. Judy saying, wow. So, Eugene, that's not for you, I guess.
Yeah,
the wow
sure,
is actually for Denise's video. I wish it would be for you, but no, not tonight. So, guys, so my first question to all of you, what's actually your biggest takeaway from 2020? So what was the biggest challenge you have overcome? And if you can just share it with our audience tonight, that would be great. So let's summarize what's actually happened for us in 2020 and what have we learned from it. And we'll start with Renata again, please.
Thanks, Jana. So as a Melburnian, I have to say that one of the biggest challenges for us in Melbourne was the stop-start nature of our year. We sort of went into lockdown, and we came out of lockdown, and then went into the world's strictest lockdown was happening in Melbourne. And you know, to actually see the streets empty and to feel the sense of real hollowness in Melbourne was very, very unusual. Melbourne is such a thriving city, and, you know, we as Melburnians are really proud of that. But one thing that I did also pick up, just from a technology point of view, is so many of us shifted our paradigm, shifted our thinking to this possibility of working from home. And you know, we're still, a lot of Melburnians are working full-time from home. What technology did was it enabled that. If we did not have technology in place, you know, that a lot of companies had already been thinking about and trialing and already had started putting into businesses, we would not have been able to continue delivering value to our customers. Businesses, I mean, a lot of businesses unfortunately did shut down, service businesses, but, you know, the big companies would not have been able to continue to deliver value to customers, which is why we're in business. So technology was such a huge enabler for us, and I don't think we realised what was out there and available until this year hit us. And the other thing I think that really marked this year was the shift in mindset, the paradigm around this possibility of working from home. As someone who had 2 stints of maternity leave, who'd worked part-time, you know, job shares, I'd tried it all to be able to make my career work. I knew that working from home definitely works, but many that I worked with didn't. I still worked with a lot of very traditional people. This year, all of that was turned on its head. And I think some of even the most traditional people have realised that actually working from home, working from anywhere is absolutely possible. But what needs to come with that is a very different mindset, a different leadership style, and a different connection between people. And I think actually, as we talk about 2021 a bit later on, I think that's going to be one of the things that we continue to discover next year.
Definitely. I've spent this year in Melbourne as well, so I can definitely relate to empty streets and working from home.
Yeah.
I was there as well. I joined you guys.
Right. It was just hollow. It was a hollow. And I couldn't even go to Chatston Shopping Centre. It was completely unfair.
Definitely. So Olga spent this year in Sydney. So Olga, you didn't experience that, hard lockdown, but still, what was your biggest takeaway from 2020?
Yana, I think we are very lucky. So as you've all gathered from our intro, which I did in the beginning, right? We play in e-commerce space and social media space, right? So these both spaces were actually getting accelerated growth. So we have, like, if those brands who wanted to use e-commerce, finding super simple solution, right, to move from offline retail to online, they went to Persolo to create the instant checkout stores, right? And we have very simple solutions. So we actually have seen fantastic growth during the months. In terms of social media analytics and influencer marketing, again, I can say that, this new challenge world, it legitimized actually the influencer marketing channel as a proper, marketing channel. Previously, the budgets, I don't know if you work in the media industry, but, previously budgets for influencer marketing were always, a kind of a teeny bit, right? Like out of, let's say, 100% of marketing budgets, 25%, if 25% went into influencer marketing, that was a big investment. And now what happened is that, of course, because the whole retail was in a mess in the beginning of March, and we all were in social media, right? So at home in Melbourne, but you were on social media. We all were there. So brands started to search for, e-commerce solutions plus, some accessible marketing opportunities. And influencer marketing basically was the place where people went. I should say, though, that we had as well some challenge because we work with big brands, agencies, as well as small merchants, but most of our revenue is coming from big brands and agencies. And they had some troubles, right? Because they couldn't adapt very quickly to the new changes, and they delayed some payments, which would have come to us, right? So we actually felt this turbulence, despite playing in that, quite interesting spheres, right, that are destined to grow basically out of this shift to digital, right, across all the sectors. So for us, again, we always worked remotely. So, I'm from Ukraine originally. We have team between Ukraine and Australia. Remote working, was always a norm for us since 2016. So ta-dam, not a big change for us. We just, I just was sitting like, yes, with all this set up, or it sucks, like all the processes are set up, we just quickly transitioned, basically jumped into this, new offline working from home scenarios. Though the only change was that, I regularly had meetings with agencies and brands here in Sydney, but, we all moved to Zoom. But it was mostly for them, unusual for me, it was okay to jump on calls, and basically work from home once in a while. So again, not a big shift for us. Though what I can say is that I would say one of the biggest takeaways for us and for me personally from 2020 is that you definitely have to stay close to your customers. Even if you're having a SaaS platform like we do, right? We have, like I just said, HeyLinkMe just got 40,000 users. You can't talk to everybody. You can't, stay connected and know their situation, in very, close follow line. But if you have big brands, agencies, it's always good to stay in close touch, because, you need to be aware of what their challenges are to keep going with your business, right? So for us, what happened is that I think we became more close with our clients as a result of this pandemic, because we shared, similar challenges. We talked regularly what challenges they have. So I even understood more. Previously, it was more not transactional relationship, but we had some distance. But now I think we became more close with our customers on a kind of personal level. So business, personal level, kids, like home, work, everything basically got muddled into one space, which is good. And I gave birth as as well in April. So I mean, everything is kind of played nicely for me this year, personally and business wise. But definitely, like, a key takeaway would be that staying close to your customers, as close as you can, in whatever area you're playing. Is it SaaS or it's a kind of a more custom relations? I would, because you never know what 2021 will bring. So as long as you're close, you know how to take care of your clients in the best way and keep generating revenue, because we're all about money, right? And business is, it's you create business to generate money, right? It can be of course of social passion and so on, but it still has to bring revenue in. Sorry, I can talk forever, so I'm done for now.
Sounds like a full-on year, and I like how you just briefly mentioned. And also, like, I have I got a child. Yeah, just like, by the way.
Yeah, like a small pandemic baby. Yeah.
Sounds like a massive year for you.
Oh yeah.
In all the way. So what about Denise? Denise, have you spent this year in America, or how did 2020 treated your business?
Well, yeah, I've spent some time of the year in America, some time of the year in Europe, but I wanted to give like a more global perspective, at least. I was preparing for the stream. I was thinking it through. Maybe it would be kind of trivial, but tech startup should be more agile. Should be agile more than ever. Should have been more agile than ever this year. Because well, when it all started in March, especially for startups like us, which are pre-revenue and heavy R&D and driven, it was kind of a shock, because we didn't know what will happen with us in the next month or so, because the outlook for the market was very negative for the venture investment market. And as we're preparing for an active fundraising phase in which we're in now. But it all stayed much better than we've expected, actually. So again, probably a trivial thing to say, but somehow out of the threat and opportunity emerged. And what happens now is that everybody realized that healthcare models are very conservative. So people are being treated like 50 years ago, most of the time in hospitals. And that applies not only to our field, but basically to anything. So therefore, health tech and biotech investments started a rally, actually, in the venture market. And it looks like our product and our idea and vision, they became more receptive with professional investors. Because of that very fact. So if previously we had to say, basically explain that we're not crazy, now it became much easier now it became much easier to talk with people, because people started thinking, like, in a totally different way. They're now looking, even VCs, you would think that VCs are always looking to a long-term perspective. Frankly speaking, most of the VCs are in investment business, so they're thinking how to earn money. And usually visionary things, everybody likes them, everybody applauds them and say, hey, yeah, you have to have great vision to like Elon Musk. But in fact, venture market is very tough and wins, and people are always looking for less risk, because there's huge risk per se. So any way to mitigate the risk is preferable for a VC. And yeah, that's what we've experienced. Quite an interesting, that was an interesting path for us this year, but we became stronger, and basically we are now confident in our future, that we'll be able to enter the market in 2022, as you've seen on video. So yeah, it was a good year for us as well.
Perfect. And I would like to pass it on to Eugene now to ask his questions to our speakers.
Well, I'll probably like to share my takeaways as well, if I may. And
No,
basically,
just quickly,
I'm in a very privileged position to talk after all of the founders of startups today, because the way I see that, you guys all have one single line in common about the importance of adaptability, agility, which are pertaining only to human capital, and whatever process, whatever technology may be in place, 2020 demonstrated in a very tough way that it can be all broken in seconds unless it's used in a smart and adaptable and agile way. By whom? By humans, right? So our main takeaway for Fastlane Solutions, at least from my perspective, hopefully my colleagues will agree with that, given that we are in a very heavy IT complex service business, serving 70% of our clients are in the financial industry. We constantly faced a lot of challenges around building teams, aligning people with in-house teams, aligning processes on not on the technology side of things, because this is our core business, right? But more on the human-related behavioral patterns of things. So yeah, I thought it's kind of worth mentioning, because even the mindset of consulting and advisory, as mentioned about leadership by some of the speakers, should change now. There is no place for 20th century type of consulting and advisory, whereas businesses and the world has so drastically changed. So we really need to not just declare about being agile or change, we actually have to be the change we want to bring into the world. So in a way, yeah, I would like probably to bring the conversation more into space of the how we're going to approach 2021. Denise already touched upon that a little bit, but maybe out of the, so we have those trends: remote working, customer intimacy still important despite SaaS and technology. We have this adaptability, agility, but in terms of, for instance, how would financial markets react to the future? Because at some point of time, and we're seeing in some of the countries that financial markets are picking up, and even across Australia, we're seeing some good trends for some states. And I wouldn't say that about the United States at the moment. Hopefully, things will come back on track. So, but I mean, how all of these elements we've discussed just now will impact the mindset of both investors and startups. What is your point of view? And probably, yeah, we'll start with Renata again, like going through the same cycle.
Yeah. Humans like consistency. Look, I think, Eugene, to be honest with you, the markets, I think, have been really interesting to watch. The minute they announced the vaccine, or that there was a vaccine coming, the markets became very buoyant again. And I think it fundamentally goes back to what you were talking about. Humans decide emotionally. We actually think we're so logical, and we think that we're, all this, analytics and all this IQ stuff. Actually, humans behave and decide emotionally. And the market, I think, is a real example of that. It's sort of, there's this negativity bias that we have as humans because, of course, we've got this inbuilt survival mechanism. And so the minute we believe there's some positivity, we always react in that way. And I think this year is such a good example of that. The human condition is to survive and to believe and to be hopeful. Even the most cynical people don't want to be cynical all the time. They actually, you'll see that they like to have positive people in their lives because it reminds them to not always be cynical. Otherwise, forget it. Like you just want to, curl up in a fetal position in a hole and, say goodbye. So I think at the end of the day, this year has been a real showcase of the fact, to your point, that the humans will be emotional, will want connection. We've seen a huge spike in mental health issues and well-being issues, particularly in the first part of this year, and it's sort of come away a little bit as we've learned to connect with each other in a different way. But loneliness spiked because people are not used to not having a place to connect. Humans are very tribal, so they need a place to come together and connect. And when you had to relearn how to do that over a video conference rather than physically, again, humans needed to adapt which we did. And we've shown that we can come out of that and we can bounce back, and it's buoyant. So this year has been it's almost been like an experiment, human experiment for the world of what can be, how can we be different? And I'm personally really excited about what all of this will mean going forward.
Yeah, this is amazing. It's interesting you touched on the point of the logical and sort of intuitive, emotional decision making. I think it was one of our first topics in this course of the live streams. And we sort of ended up basically playing this role game with the managing partner from Fastlane. He was kind of rational, I was kind of emotional. And now we're ending this year with the big stress on emotional and behavioral patterns in all kind of business models we're presenting today. So Olga, what is your point? What is your take on that?
Yeah, I think the world has changed so much that we haven't realized it yet how much, to be honest. And it's super deep. Again, we work with Pisola with different industries. And I can say, of course, each industry got hit, some harder, some less. But the change is huge, right? I don't think we even realize how much. If you know, I as well teach and lecture at UTS, right? And I can see how the sector of education has changed so much inside. How we're moving the next year all lectures online, despite, the vaccine announcements and all of that. Still, everybody is, students are not happy to pay for, things that they were happy to pay before, and everything is changing. Like consumers' patterns are changing. And I think it's the realization how much it has changed is yet to come, to be honest. I think 2021 will be even harder year to be like, I'm a positive person, but I think it will be a harder year for every industry, for travel particularly, right? Because the whole thing accumulates. For education as well, the whole thing accumulates. In educational sector, everybody's getting ready for 2021 as the hardest year, which, you would say, lockdowns are over, things are coming back. But again, we're still yet to actually understand how much things have changed. What I would say, like the year definitely brought a lot of challenges, but I saw it, and I think with my team, we see it as a huge opportunity. So we've done so many new things, which we planned a long time to do. And we just released, each thing one after the other. And yeah, we got many positive surprises, how people reacted to our new features and how, people reacted to this new product. And yeah, like I think we need just to stay, alarmed and not alarmed, but keeping our eyes on what is happening and be very receptive, right? As you said, Renata, right? Then we're emotional humans. So we basically have to, connect and to stay in business, to stay in personal relationship, we have to connect still, using technology or whatever. We still have to be like connection, I think would be like one of the key things in 2021. Also, another thing is that space no longer matters that much, which is great. At the same time, I can say, space no longer matters, but we're locked in a space, right? We can't travel from Australia, and all of that. So I would challenge that, right? Like my own even statement, right? That space doesn't matter. But to be honest, I'm starting to get a bit claustrophobic, in Australia, though it's a big continent, right? But come on, like you can't travel, right? And you have to have a very valid reason to actually leave the country. So again, right? All work and everything goes beyond space, but physical body is basically locked, right, in a kind of a territorial container. So yeah.
I think we were already allowed to travel. I actually did that last Saturday, at least between Victoria and New South Wales.
Yes, but I'm talking overseas.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and the sort of some of the things you described are not pertaining to Europe, say right now, or United States in a way, but this kind of adjusted form of connection, which is still needed for things to go on, and the fact that 21 is going to be harder, I totally agree with you. But the funny thing is, it's going to be harder for those who still haven't learned the lessons of the 2020. And for startup ecosystem, I think these are the sort of those people who are the front line of learning things quickly and actually, putting them into practice. So Denise, what is your
Eugene, I just want to say one thing, and that's an extension of what you said. And I think, if you look at Carol Dweck's work around growth mindset, it's exactly what you just said. If people can take on a growth mindset and open up to the possibilities of what can be, I think it's going to be, it's not that it's not going to be painful. Human change is painful, but that growth mindset allows you to have that mindset around possibilities.
Yeah, sort of being resourceful in a way, in whatever conditions you end up in. And
right.
Absolutely. I think, this is great. I feel like Renata is bringing that structured human skills into the conversation every time. So yeah, we got it's deep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's deep. Thank you, Roman, for your comment. And actually, guys who are still on the line, make sure share with us what was your biggest takeaway from 2020 and what trends you see in 2021. So we would like to see your comments as well. Please share with us so we can see as well. Thank you.
And I would like to stress that I think this is the first live stream we're doing, and we have this word deep used extensively. Olga just used that, then Renata made a comment, and we already had this comment from the audience. So we're actually doing deep stuff today. Denise, what is your deep thought on the 21? Just don't, it's unmute because it's going, the sound does go deep.
Yeah, so thought is very deep. I was thinking of, agree completely with all the takes of Olga and Renata and Jana and Eugene. I was thinking more in the way how conservative industries will react to this change, like real estate, aviation, like what will. So obviously, people will not get back to the previous course of work. Just yesterday I saw a stats released. So in US, only 5% of people will want to go fully to office work again. So half of people will want to have this work home possibility to shift. So like what will happen basically to all of the offices that have been built and continuing to be built? Like each time I'm passing, in US, there are big buildings. So I'm just wondering what will happen to them. And the same for
everything
airplanes.
is just huge.
Yeah. So
not only that, we're a bit worried in Australia, Dennis, because the superannuation companies own 80% of the office buildings in this, at least in Melbourne. And if they're not occupied, our superannuation is going to really suffer. Anyway,
it might seem like fun, but if you take airplanes, also we wouldn't need that many airplanes again, because the previous projections for airplane industry, in 2015 was that until 2030 it will grow twice, basically mostly based on Asian demand. Now all of the airplane manufacturers are like redoing their strategies drastically. And so why I've chosen these two examples is that real estate is the backbone of the whole financial industry, and aviation or aerospace is the backbone of the whole hard tech development and dependence of global supply chains, actually, which go deep down to materials. So it will have a butterfly effect of the magnitude, potentially can have the butterfly effect of the magnitude that we cannot imagine. And what I've seen for now is that they've tried only, these industries still reacted only to to what happened. They didn't react to what will happen in the future. And that's a problem, which still nobody discusses. Like everybody is concentrated on vaccine. Okay, yeah, obviously that's important. Everybody is now rethinking this new way of living. Also very important psychologically. But the long-term effects, nobody's still told about the long-term effects on the macro level. So that's I think will be crucial for next year if the world will be able to answer the question clearly.
Yeah, and even given like this, one of the effects, again, we have this experience of working with a lot of software vendor companies, and they said, you know, we've done so well bringing our workforce into the work from home mode. Everyone's happy. We kind of, you know, adjusted all of the tools and settings and cybersecurity layers and stuff. But I actually asked that person who is the, you know, C-suite level at the company, which has global impact. But have you thought about the like 2 years, like short-term projections about the firebacks of the mental health and psychological aspects of your workforce, which will also have a long-term impact on your, you know, any of your projections and any of your financial performance and operational performance areas. And then it may touch on e-commerce businesses or the aspects which should be addressed in the human design and human skills areas. And then, you know, we have this sort of, if I'm not thinking negatively, but if we have this vicious cycle when the entire loop of the financial system, the way it was designed before, may end up like rebooting maybe in 21 or 22, which will impact the market of sourcing the capital for startups, which you guys are. So, you know, it's kind of an interesting pathway. And, you know, coming back to giving just one of the flags that we are carrying at the moment, the IT tool space, all of this automation, you know, around and this bits and pieces of AI. I know Olga is using some of those expertises in her area. Do you think that this sort of basically, you know, overwhelming and massive amount of tools, IT tools in the market, do they actually serve the actual purpose of the business or you know, the organizations, which are still like mostly of them are consisting of people? And maybe we'll start with yeah, Renata, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, I'm itching to answer. So, so as someone, I actually ran a process automation practice, both at NAB and then at Latitude Financial Services, where I've worked. At the end of the day, you know, we went through a period where it was sort of shiny tools. It was exciting to discover what we could automate and how we can automate it. And as someone who's always worked in the area of process improvement, I've always been, you know, pro automation anyway. For me, actually, the step before that is actually to take the waste out before you automate, but I won't go, that's a rabbit hole I won't go down. But the reality is we cannot automate emotion and we cannot automate complexity. What we can automate, at least with what we know today and probably for the foreseeable future, is we can certainly automate the easier stuff. What happens with that then is that means that the humans are left with the complex stuff. And again, I don't want to be predictable in what I'm about to say, but that's where human skills come in. You can't solve complex problems on your own. You need to be able to creatively problem solve with others and to be able to work with others, to bring the best of yourself, to be able to resolve conflict, negotiate, influence, to get the best solutions up, bubbling up to the surface. Which means that it doesn't matter how much technology is implemented, it needs to interact with humans. And both McKinsey and Deloitte have recently published, you know, fairly deep surveys, there's that word again, or research that basically says that 2/3 of roles within the next decade will need highly developed social and emotional skills to interact with the technology. Because what you need to be able to do is to get the technology, and look, Olga's in this world, get the technology to give the humans a better life, to give better products, better services. And so you need humans to know how to work together and with the technology. It's very important.
This is amazing live stream we're having. I'm like so excited. Olga, what do you think about how do we put it into reality?
Yeah, that's right. So I agree with Renata completely, right? So we have data scientists. So our product is AI powered, right? If you want to use this, you know, sexy word, but again, like there's no intellect, so there is no artificial intelligence. It's just, you know, data points which are nicely automatedly connected in a beautiful way. So we have in our team data scientists, right, who work on this area to like. We work in social media space. We provide like detailed analytics there. What I want to say in continuation of what Renata mentioned about, you know, the roles, reports, right? She read, again, I as well read report that, you know, now this year and last year, the sexy roles, right? We're in data science, you know, kids were advised to do data science degrees, you know, coding degrees and whatever. But next years, which are coming, I think by 2050 or 2030, I don't remember the, you know, another report which I read, they said said, again, better to invest in, critical skills, soft skills, and professions of that type of, critical thinking, basically, is where everything is heading. So, those who are looking for a job or to invest in you, I don't know, upgrade lessons for themselves or some programs to get certificates or whatever. Yes, data science is amazing, AI is cool, but it's already kind of a little bit of a past, decade, which we're hopping on into something more, human focused. But yes, so I mean, AI does amazing stuff, right? Data science and data is very important in everything what we do. Like, it's core to everything, to product development, to marketing, to everything, to customer satisfaction, to everything. Basically, it's all should be data driven, and all decisions should be data driven. So I recommend all the businesses to refer to some tech which provides, analytical insights to drive their future choices and decisions. But yeah, I think AI is a hype word, like blockchain, goodbye, like AI would be goodbye soon as well. And there'll be some new words, right, which will emerge. What will that be? Maybe mental health or something else, related, as was the comment just, from Roman here. Maybe that's another, hype thing that is coming. I don't know.
And I guess we already touched on Roman's question, and Renata touched on before. How do you think technology could help with the forthcoming mental health issue? And I don't know. Would you like to add anything else on this question?
I would. You can tell I can. I'm eager. So interesting. I read an article yesterday. There's a guy, a footballer in Australia called Chris Judd. And Chris Judd has got a senior role in he actually used to play for Carlton Football Club. He's got a senior role in Carlton. He actually wrote a LinkedIn post or something, maybe an article. He thinks that, because obviously football clubs are constantly looking for how can they up the ante, what's the 1%ers they can keep adding so that their football team is better than the rest. He personally thinks the next, kind of wave of that 1%ers is getting footballers out of their phones. Because he said what he has seen is that they in between games, they're in their phones reading social media, posting, etc. And it leads to two things. One, their lack of building trust and connectedness with one another, which significantly contributes to high-performing teams. And the second one is they're getting into trouble by what they're posting, and they're getting trolled while they're sitting watching their phone. So, the people that don't like them or think that whatever, they're trolling them, and it's impacting their mental well-being. So they cannot turn up as the best version of themselves. Personally, it's get off the social media that is giving you a false sense of what perfection is or what good is or what the world expects of you, because it's all, I'm sorry, made up. Get off the phone and get into real life is really what I think is going to be the big next wave. But don't get me wrong, I still want you to use my app, which does require you to be on the phone.
Now we have a conflict of interest in the startup ecosystem. But I would say, to reasonable extent that's totally what is the long-term impact we're talking about. And even if we're not seeing that now, it's going to be a big thing within 3 to 5 years. So I think we're excluding our overseas colleagues from the United States. I
guess Olga wanted to comment.
No, I think it's obvious, right? Because I work in social media space, right? That's where all the business is done now. So, stay on social. 3.6 billion people can't be wrong. I mean, so we're all there.
Just the positive socials, Olga. I think, let's stay with a positive mindset on socials. Let's use it for good.
No, I agree. I had another interview just the other day, and, a guy asked me about my child, that I have a child now, and what's the dark side of technology? Are you going to raise your kid? How to control screen time, how to do all of that. And I'm actually on this topic at the moment to figure out what I'm going to do. But, to be honest, there are different ways how you can approach that, right? Of course, scrolling through different video content wouldn't make you, any intelligent nor knowledgeable or whatever, but using it, let's say, to connect right? With family, let's say, you know, we're using with our little Kira, right? Like we're talking to our grandparents, you know, like, and she actually built some connection. But of course, you know, I will be against her, you know, sitting and just watching YouTube videos one after the other and doing gaming or, you know, whatever. So it depends, like what, I think it can be good, but there is definitely a dark side of technology. Is it social media or is it just how we use tech? It's, yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah. Yeah,
I
there's
guess
many
this,
studies.
this
I can talk for it forever.
this topic that can go forever because it's as our favorite word for today is really deep. Because loneliness is a really complicated topic because we all know that not to be lonely, you pretty much just need one person in your life that understands you, and that's all you need not to feel lonely. And you don't need 5,000, I don't know, followers on Facebook.
Definitely.
But it's all about being not lonely, it's being understood. And I think we need to remember it's the difference between being lonely and being alone. And when it comes to actually being understood and that there is someone next to you can listen without a judgment, which is quite hard to find on social media sometimes.
Definitely.
So, but guys, I would like to bring us back to our topic, future of the tech startups in 2021, because the discussion on social media can go forever. We're already up to 50 minutes of our stream. So I would like us to finish our live stream with one your top tip, your one advice or top tip that your prediction of 2021, your business trends prediction, and what actually tech startup must concentrate in 2021. And we'll start with Denise because Denise been quiet there and falling asleep in America, 2 a.m. in America.
It's actually a great discussion. I love it. So, just a small comment on the last question is that technology will help solve this issue with pharma companies introducing new neuromodulators to market to modify to help us live through these challenging times. So one thing to look at is an element called psilocybin. It's a psychedelic element derived from mushrooms, and it will be one of the top hits in the coming which will so there will be social media for those who want to be on them, and for those who won't, they will have kind of psychology modulating pills, and that's just reality, and where where big industries are looking at how to react to the crisis. But the key takeaway for the key advice for next year would be, I was thinking something like, if to put it concise, is plan ahead or die. I don't know. Like, this should be a year of planning. Like, continuing my last comment on lack of strategic planning overall, like on a global scale. So, and that applies to individuals as well. You need to plan. People need to start planning much way ahead, much more ahead, and try to shape their lives and all the processes in a way that will allow them to basically not react, not be hindered by any crisis that could potentially come in the future, because everything is fast, it's changing so fast, and the crises will emerge much faster in the future, also because of technology, also because of how technology is embraced now. So that's the key advice. Start planning now.
Thank you, Denise. It's you start your answer as dramatic as your video. Plan or die.
yeah. It's
You're on brand. You're on brand today.
Yeah, I the brand is on.
Thank you, thank you. Renata, what about you? What's your top advice for our audience for 2021?
Well, I mean, certainly, Jana, I'd like to give you a hope. Actually, I'd like to share one of my hopes, one of my great hopes for 2021, and that is that we get more female startups with funding. You know, at the moment, and Olga and I were debating whether it's 2% or 3%, but it's somewhere between 2 and 3% of startups are actually owned by females. Funded startups that get VC funding are female owned, and there are far, far more startups in the world that females have started. So we shouldn't, you know, at the moment, a lot of females are supporting one another. Actually, you know, I'm part of a couple of groups where females are tipping in money to create pools of money to help other females because just the money's not forthcoming into these great ideas that, you know, it's obvious have got legs but just cannot get funded. So I'm honestly just hopeful that 2021 will finally be the year that we start to see a shift in the momentum towards females and female startups. It would be fantastic to see that needle shift because it's embarrassing at the moment.
Thank you, Renata. So we kind of, you know, discriminating Denise here today.
Denise, I mean, we're not discriminating. You know, sometimes you need the positive discrimination as well. So anyway.
Yeah. It's a positive discrimination, yeah, for sure.
And Olga, what about you? What would be your top tip for our audience today?
Yeah, because we're talking to startups, right? So I think my advice to startups would be to create, if you're thinking to create something super simple. Like just, I think simplicity, user friendliness, and easiness in use should be like core motto of all the products that are created next year. For all those who are now in startups and, you know, they're looking for how to make the product better, I would just, you know, just simplify it, just make it more simple, more user friendly. Again, talk to your customers because they will be both hands for simplicity and easiness of usiness of the product. Yeah, so just keep it simple.
Totally agree. We so often we just overcomplicate the things. And Eugene, so what about you? What would be your advice for the tech startups in 2021?
Well, I would like to sort of give the advice and also wrap it up. You know, we've been talking about the impact or role of technology in startup ecosystem or for the conventional businesses. So I would say technology is neutral, and whatever we put into that technology, whatever way we apply it, we have the output and you know the relevant output. And I would probably quote one of the well-known entrepreneurs, Simon Sinek, who has been recently asked, what would be the business you would launch amidst this pandemic and in this sort of, you know, drastically changing time? And he said, anything related to human. So whatever perspective you come from, technology, management, process consulting, or I don't know, physical interaction, customer intimacy, business value, sort of moderation. Think about the outcomes for all of us because we're so connected also via technology in this world that whatever we input there, we have the exponential output straight away to the point that all of the participants mentioned. It's all fast-paced and we basically spinning the wheel, which we have to run ourselves in the end of the day. So let's stay human and let's be the change we want to see in the world, whatever we use for that, technology or ourselves. That's it.
I guess that's it. That was
I try to be short, Jana, because you use technology to mute me sometimes, so I'm trying to be short.
But I'm sure I'll try to unmute you sometimes too. So we have 1 minute left till 1 hour stream. We should finish in 50 seconds. I just want to say thank you for everyone joining us tonight. If you do have questions to any of our speakers, please do not hesitate to still put them in the comments if you're watching replay. So we will be monitoring the comments after. You can connect with all of them on LinkedIn as well if you're interested to learn more about their businesses. And of course, if you have any topics that you want us to discuss in 2021, please also let us know. We're keen to bring some different experts from different industry to our Fast Lane live streams and discuss different topics. So last comment. That's a long comment. Oh my God. I agree with Renata, Olga regarding automation. We will need the human essential skills now more than ever, especially if Denise 3D machine is going to replace my future brittle bones so I can live longer. I will the calm and serene human face for reassurance. And to the video producer, to my social media family and friends of the future. Fantastic, insightful conversation. Thank you all, and thank you, Yana. Brilliant as ever. Have to go. Have a good night, all. So on this note,
Amazing.
On this note, thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you next year. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone. This was fantastic.
Thank you.